you're not doing it wrong. Except for you're doing it wrong. Does anyone else have an old trauma-based sensitivity to this phrase? My siblings and I had enough of these moments with our parents when we were young that it became a family saying. I remember a time as a family we got into the car after my brother's baseball game, and the first thing my dad mentioned was the grounder my brother missed and how he could adjust his form when extending his glove. "You're doing it wrong," was all my brother and all of us listening heard. Upset and deeply hurt, my brother replied, "Yeah, Dad, but what about the 2 home runs I hit?" I have been a puppet to these strings, and I'm certain I've expressed "you're doing it wrong" to others more times than I wish, and I'm so very sorry. One of my great paradoxes is both losing the world, who the world told me I should be and still does tell me, and discovering my own authentic way. Unhooking from the world's expectations and grounding to my center often still seems wrong because it's never enough. At the micro level, I'm fucking it all up. I'm sure of that. At the macro level, though, I remember this present moment. I remember that I'm a speck of fleshy dust on a rock floating through infinite space. I'm a tiny 5'9" coagulation of matter with thumbs typing on a device with a screen that allows me to see my words in front of me rather than swirling around in my head. Yet none of it ever seems good enough. Inside of me or outside of me, I'll never be a good enough white, cisgender, colonized, unracist, unindoctrinated, unchristianized, socialist commie woman, and you'll never be a good enough whatever you feel that in the world's eyes. Oh, and we can also add non-vegan to this list now after some woman on TikTok decided she could help me by telling me on a social media post how much suffering I ingest when I eat the meat of animals. Thanks, lady, proving my point. None of us are doing it right, and we're all doing it better than everyone around us, in our eyes, and it's exhausting. I see your mess. I see your perfection. I see you doing it wrong. And I see you doing it the best you are capable of doing I see myself doing the same. I spent most of my 50 years trying to be better, do right and good and care in the right ways, and it has never been enough. At the end of the day, here I am with me, just me. My right way can only be good enough for me. It has never lived up to your, whoever you are, expectation. I'm working on letting your right be good enough for you. Do our rights, our correctedness ever meet in the same place? Maybe for a moment, but after that moment, another moment happens and shows us our separateness and wrongness. The shoulds rip us in two and we both lose. We both end up wrong again. It's exhausting. No matter what I preach, it's only right now, and it only has to be enough for me because I will never be enough for whomever them is, and it won't ever be right for you. What a complicated world we live in, with the ever-present threat of unbelonging. I've also read that this is very much a white woman thing and could be. I'm a white woman. Unbelonging. This is the hook that freezes us or fights us or fawns us due to the threat of disconnection, rejection, or heaven forbid, left behind in the apocalypse. Other than life and death, this is the one thing we all have in common, the innate need to belong. I'm tired of trying to belong in a way that makes you happy while I lose me. I'm tired of trying to belong in a way that works for you, but not for me. I'm allowed to center myself. You are allowed to center yourself. You are the center of your universe, and I am the center of mine. The cycle goes on, and we retreat within, each of us trying to rip another from their center for our own security. It's exhausting. And so for today, I will just be here with my dog and my words and my expression and the air touching the bottom of my feet and my bra feeling too tight and my throat a bit itchy. This is where I am, belonging to only my own sweet soul and self of me. It has to be enough. I breathe and check in, and it's enough. P.S. I can smell that my sweet dog is dying. It's in its breath, because that is what life is. It is living and loving and then death. I will be okay. I do have a lot of deep sadness. I won't pretend it isn't there. Some days it's heavy. I share to normalize this for you and for me and for the people who tell me my willingness to express some of this difficult and unrepresentable human experience helps. At the end of the day, expressing myself always brings me back to hope. Other systems I've been a part of, toxic religion, toxic spirituality, toxic coaching, tell me not to be a victim. I'm not a victim. I'm human. I'm a woman of range, here to feel it all, and I'm done denying my humanness in service of someone else's pleasure and comfort. I'm here to live in the paradoxes of creativity and death and caring and hopelessness and effort and failure. I'm not here to escape the systems. I'm here to be in them and regenerate my own system within them. Some days that's easy and glorious, and other days it's hard. I no longer need it to be easy. I just need it to be real. That's a chapter from my book, Unarmored. And I opened it up this morning, and because sometimes I open it to help me remember who I am for me. And I was like, oh, I'm going to read this to TikTok. And then I had one of those doing it wrong experiences in a conversation with somebody I love who did not mean me any harm, but my rejection sensitive dysphoria grabs onto your doing it wrong. I hope that helps. It helps me, and I hope it helps you.